What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality checking. You don't see my pretty sexy face, so you know I'm not alone. It's an AEW episode, guys, but don't worry, I do have a co-host this week.
That's right, your savior. That's right, I am back again, Senor de Guapo. Spaz, what happened? Like, seriously. Like, I left you for one show.
You shouldn't have left me for one show. I'm going to embarrass you right off the bat. Guapo wasn't with me, guys, for the Winter is Coming, Game of Thrones preview because he was off having an anniversary. So first of all, a happy anniversary, bud.
Thank you. It was good times spent with me and Mrs. Guapo. Went to the land of country music and all that fun stuff. Yeah. It was good. I had fun. I drank way too much moonshine, and me and my wife somehow ended up on multiple wine doors. Don't know why.
Somehow.
We came home with more liquor than what we intended to.
Well, you've been Googling ways to get up here to the promised land of Canada. Trust me, we'll get you some. Even though I don't drink beer, we'll get you some good beer. All right, it'll be fine.
God, why do I have a feeling that you'll have a 6-pack of cold Smirnoff Ice waiting for me as I pull up into Canada?
The Smirnoff is mine, bro. You're on your own.
Okay, just give me
I will serve you Smirnoff Ice out of a good old Canadian milk bag.
Oh, God. just have some Tim Hortons waiting for me and we'll be good.
Hey, you got Tim Hortons in the States too. I've seen pictures.
Not here in good old Louisiana.
I don't know. It's in New York. I think
that doesn't count. New York's another weird land, but
whatever. Is it another bizarro land?
It is. Everything in New York's crazy. That's why you got to travel down to Jacksonville to meet the good old guys in AEW.
Yeah, but I'm not like 102 years old, so I don't think they'll let me in. Moving on. So
they're not the demo. It's fine.
I am nothing if not a fair host. As you know, Jake DeMarco and myself are slowly running through the women's division of NXT because it is the best division, period, in all of mainstream wrestling, period. But, I mean, if we want to throw a bone to AEW, AEW's got some pretty good tag team wrestling. So,
absolutely. They got some of the best tag team wrestlers on the planet right now.
Yes. So Guapo and I are basically going to do the same thing for the tag team division. Now, the difference being is Jake and I basically scraped up every female body there is in NXT. Guapo and I are not quite doing the same thing. There's a lot of teams that have only been there for a cup of coffee, a lot of teams that are only featuring on Dark, and I don't know who the hell watches Dark. So we have sort of picked the ones we can make some conversation out of, I think, is a fair way to say it. I literally threw it to Guapo and said, hey, let's spread this out over 2 podcasts. Make me a list. So Guapo has made us a list, so we're going to talk about some of the mid-card of AEW's tag team division this time, and whenever we get part 2 out to you, that's more so going to be the main event tag teams. And I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out which ones are which, but the list and the order and all that sort of thing, all the prep, I sort of put over to Guapo as his penance for missing an episode.
It's fine. I mean, this was a little...
Also, you know more about what you're talking about than I do.
This is true. I do know more what I'm talking about because this is AEW. This is my show. I have not watched main card WWE in over 6 months, and Lord, does it feel good.
I mean, we're literally recording this in the middle of Raw, because Raw is terrible. And Nia Jackson,
Raw's on?
Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler in a promo just said that they were going to beat up Asuka till her boobs popped out her back. That is a promo that happened.
That was a thing.
That's a thing that happened. That is.
I'm not even sad that I quit watching it now. Like, okay, so I'll be honest. I've not watched anything for main card. However, I mean, you like me, you watch What Culture, so you get the gist of what's happening.
Yep.
I have seen little clips and watched a couple matches, like some of the stuff where now that they're doing Roman Reigns, which honestly, this is the best Roman's ever done.
Oh, there are things. This is the thing, and Jake and I have touched on this a bunch too, because he and I specifically focus on NXT. So when we meander into main roster conversation, it is because like there's these one or two things that you do want to talk about, but you really got to pick and choose what you like. Like the Roman and Jey Uso thing is cool. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I like the pairing of The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Sort of the mid-card, a lot of the stuff that's going on SmackDown right now is good. Like the mid-card with guys like Daniel Bryan and Big E and guys like them all stuff. There are good things to be had, but you're stretching it over 5 hours if you include Raw and SmackDown.
Right, exactly.
And coming off the back of War Games, I'm not even going to get into this as a Wednesday Night War conversation, because I think that conversation's getting a bit tired at this point. But I think, considering the space that the world is in right now, NXT is in a better spot than it has been in a while, especially the women's division.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Undisputed Era is still Undisputed Era, and yeah.
Yes.
So do we carry on? You've got a couple of honorable mentions.
Yes,
I can lend a bit of opinion to one of them. So go ahead with your honorable mentions, and then we'll get into the teams we're going to talk about tonight.
All right, some mid-card honorable mentions. First up, we have the Gunn Club, Billy and Austin Gunn. Billy and Austin Gunn, obviously a father-son duo. It's great to see Billy Gunn in action whenever they do get to wrestle together. Austin's definitely coming into his own. He still hasn't lived up to the height of his father.
Literally, he's short.
I'm sorry, Austin, but you didn't meet the cut.
No, here it is. Who just called you short? It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
Oh God, no.
That's all I got.
Just no.
See, here's my problem with the Gun Club, and I don't really have a problem with them per se. I don't watch Dark. Right. Now I know AEW stems a lot from Being the Elite, which was a YouTube phenomenon, and there's a lot of people that are willing to like absolutely pick up every little thing that they drop. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. There's a lot of people that get a lot out of that. I'm not necessarily one of them because, more or less being the WWE guy, I'm already consuming a lot of wrestling, and it's sort of this weird, like, come out on a Wednesday and hang out with us, but you've also got homework feeling. So I don't watch Dark, and I only see Billy and Austin Gunn in the crowd watching on Dynamite. So to me, they're part of the audience. And that's not a venue where I know they've been involved in stuff and they've had spots, and Billy Gunn is Billy Gunn, and if you go back to the DX days, obviously investment that way. But it gives me literally, to say nothing bad about either one of them, it sort of gives me a net zero as far as being able to form an actual opinion on them, other than, hey, I wonder what they can do. I hope they get in the ring soon.
Yeah, and the only reason why I put them on here, because I have seen them on Dark a lot, but also just because they have the potential to be a decent mid-card tag team on the main roster on Dynamite. So definitely could see some good things with them. Next up, still in the honorable mentions, this is a new tag team that we're actually going to be seeing in action this Wednesday night. The Varsity Blondes, Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, both of which have made a good stay on Dark lately. This is also a new tag team. I know you don't have much to say about them because you haven't seen them.
I've seen the odd match with Brian Pillman Jr. Obviously, the associations with his dad and whatever. I don't think, unless I just didn't notice it, I don't think I've seen a Griff Garrison match, unless he was in like an enhancement position at some point.
Don't quote me on this. I want to say he fought Cody for the title, the TNT title, maybe. but I might be thinking of something else. He was definitely an enhancement talent on a episode of Dynamite at some point. But he's also one of those ones that have made a really good name on Dark.
Okay.
He's built himself up pretty well.
From what I hear, Dark just keeps getting longer and longer too. Is that the thing?
Yes. It went from being a really easy digestible hour to every so often it goes over to the 2-hour range, and once has went into the 2.5-hour range, and it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just because it's something on YouTube that I can easily either fast forward and or just skip altogether.
You can almost Netflix it.
More or less, yeah. There's definitely the couple matches that you see pop up like, okay, I'm going to stay here and watch the whole thing. And then there's a couple like, skip.
I don't know. It's just like I say, I watch, and I mean, it's no secret. I mention it on this channel a lot. The way my Wednesday nights go, I watch NXT on my shitty American stream because we don't get a proper Canadian stream up here in Canada. We have to watch the shitty American commercials. Your guys' commercials are worse than ours. And then while I'm editing that review, I'm sort of like listening and watching AEW while I do other stuff. But I have looked up the odd time, and I know they do their best to update everybody on what happened on Dark during Dynamite. They do the little runner at the bottom of the screen, which I think is really cool, right? Like, because each show should inform the other, in theory.
Right.
Like it's not a Raw SmackDown situation. But I watch the runner, and it's just like match after match after result after result after result, and I'm looking at that like, how is that not a longer show than Dynamite?
It can definitely go over. I typically... So, for Dark, because a lot of it's not like stuff I really need to like pay close attention to, for me, for like work, I'll honestly will have it on in the background for while I'm at work, doing my office work in the morning, when I can glance at it when I want to see something. I can back it up when I need to, and also listen to the commentary following the match.
So is it a case of like, do they give you a rundown in advance of like what you're gonna see? And if you hear a combination that gets your attention, you're like, okay, I'll wait till that match comes on.
Yeah, I mean they always post. I believe they always post like what matches are in the show, like in the description every week.
Oh, that's cool.
So you're able to see what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very, like I say, I'm me being sort of the outsider guy, not being into the elite before all elite wrestling was a thing. I know it's not a popular opinion that I have, but it really does kind of feel like, here's the main show. Now, if you want some more of the show, go here. Now, if you want some more of the show, go here. It's like they've set out a little internet search and find, and for somebody who wasn't drawn to them that way initially, it is a little off-putting, and unfortunately, the people that get slotted into that category, it sort of has that, there's the bucket where they're keeping the extra guys, and when we need them to do something, they'll show up on Dynamite. Sort of like a main event or a Sunday Night Heat or a what's the other one? Superstars.
Yes.
Like where they were there and they were doing stuff. Like, unbelievably, they were keeping Ali and Ricochet and folks like that on there, which didn't make any sense. And there's probably the same thing here with Dark, but it'll be interesting to see how that works out this coming Tuesday. For the record, we are recording this on Monday, December 7th. Theoretically, this will be going out this Friday, but you never know, and I don't know what else I'm going to be recording this week. So, for the record, you guys typically like to tell me if something goes out and we've missed something. Maybe it's because it hasn't happened yet. But as it stands right now, tomorrow night, Kenny Omega is doing his spot on Impact Wrestling, and I'm really wondering how that's going to work long term, because doesn't that run at the same time as AEW Dark?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
But,
so instead of Fox versus USA Network, it's Twitch versus YouTube.
To be honest, it's not much of a competition because Dark is... I mean, it is what it is.
It's dark matches.
Yeah, basically. And what the heck happened? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my notes are being stupid. I just had okay.
Well, the last honorable mention you had, because I've got your notes up on my screen as well,
Yeah.
is a team that I actually can talk about a little bit, which is the Hybrid 2, who just recently came back on Dynamite and actually started being an actual element in the story recently, which I'm really hyped about, no pun intended, because when AEW first started, I didn't know who the Best Friends were, I didn't know who the Hybrid 2 were, but they were the two teams that, how can I say this? I didn't care who they were. I didn't care if they were good guys or bad guys. They're very much the, hey, these guys are flashy and do cool shit. And that's all you need to know to enjoy the match. Which goes against what I say about wrestling, like 99% of the time. Like, you and I had the conversation off air about, the Bucks bother me. We're going to talk about the Bucks in the next pod, obviously. But basically, like, they, like, refuse to decide whether they're face or heel, and they're, like, doing good guy shit, but they're also being heels and beating up announcers and, like, pick a lane, I want to know what the story is type thing. This is the kind of thing, at least in the early days of Dynamite, where it was completely the opposite for me, where it's just like, cool, I know what these guys do, they're going to come out, and in the most positive way possible, like, they can do some flippy shit, and it's just going to be, like, what do they call it on the dirt sheets? The cocaine wrestling, where you're just going to have, like, a bunch of cool spots, and it's just going to be flat, it's going to be like the Michael Bay of wrestling. If that makes sense. I'm really, not that they're really going in a particular direction just yet, I'm really happy to see these guys back on Dynamite.
Yeah, me too. Hybrid 2 are definitely with Angelico and Jack Evans, it's definitely they click very well. Their characters are different. I'm not sure really how to really explain them. They do flippy dippy shit, but it's very technical. It's very fluid how they work. So
yeah, there is a what they do for flippy shit, and I'm not using flippy shit in the normal typical way that like old school wrestling fans use it as a negative thing, but they do the technical wrestling equivalent of flippy shit, because I could see them like taking somebody off the top rope and pulling them into a submission from that position. Like it's not just okay. People are going to hate that I'm using the Bucks as the example, but what's it called? The Meltzer driver.
Yes.
It's a pile driver, and your brother's doing a flip next to you.
Yeah.
Like and I get that people love that. I get that there's a ridiculousness factor that people like about that, but if that's not your cup of tea, there is none of that unnecessary like performative shit in what TH2 do, because everything they do seems to have, like, it's still fun, and it's still, like I say, the cocaine wrestling and the high flying, unbelievable acrobatic spots, but there's nothing in their offense comes off as unnecessary. Is I think the best way to put it.
I agree with you.
Anyways, interesting to see, because there are a lot more, sorry, I'm losing my headset, so that kind of sucks. There's a lot bigger names in the title picture right now. Like, you've got your Bucks up there, you've got your Revival, FTR up there, you've got, I know a couple of the big factions are probably going to want to take cracks at that title soon. I would love to see these guys get a title shot somewhere in the middle. Maybe not necessarily a win, but a nice strong exhibition against the Bucks, who will work well with their style, and almost you can have one of those mirror image kind of matches. Could be really good. But it looks like they're going to. It looks like they're going into something with the new team that debuted against the Bucks. I can't think of the name of now. Top Flight.
Yes.
So it looks like they're attacking them, which is a nice, simple little thing. These guys are the brand new guys on the block, and they get to be on Dynamite, and TH2 has been around for a while, and they didn't. I love that. Again, like I said about their in-ring stuff, that story is simple. It's a nice little nugget of story that doesn't. You don't need to do your homework on it. It's just there, and it makes sense. So even as sort of a mid card or even a lower card tag team feud, I'm looking more forward to that than necessarily who gets the next title shot.
It's definitely gonna be a good match and definitely one to watch this coming Wednesday. All right, so moving on into our main card of our mid card. See what I did there? All right,
I do see what you did there. And
right,
you know what? Everybody else just heard what you did there.
Yeah. All right. And now this is in no particular order at all. I'm just going to jump around on you there, Spaz, to keep you on your toes. So, let's start off with probably the most mid-cardy card people on my list. The Dark Order, consisting of John Silver and Alex Reynolds.
Okay. Here's where I'm going to break some hearts. I know people have a lot of fun with John Silver because he's like the kooky guy in the Dark Order, right? But I'm not wrong. That only goes so far. And if he's the kooky fun guy, by default his partner is just the other guy. And I'm sorry, as much as the Dark Order story has a lot of good components to it, like they've got Uno and Grayson, who are like the main two guys. I mean, right. Brody Lee is still injured, so he hasn't been there, to the best of my knowledge. Is he still? Do we know when he's coming back?
They have not said yet.
Okay.
There's been rumors that he's going to be coming back soon, but they haven't said anything yet about Brody.
Okay, because what I was going to say is it seems like in the absence of Brody Lee, like the rest of the group has sort of like split off and started to get like a more individualized identity.
Right.
Now, Uno and Grayson were the ones we met first, so they're always going to stick out as sort of like the first introduction. I think the what's her name?
Anna Jay.
Tay Conte story is kind of interesting, with one of them being in, one of them being out, but they're still a team. Like, there's some dynamic there. The only ones that still look like two generic goobers under Brody Lee are these guys, and it's only because everybody else sort of has something else going on. Like, you got what's his name? Colt Cabana, who's sort of, I guess, playing the idiot and thinks Brody Lee's like the greatest thing ever, and he's having a good time, and he's made all these new friends and whatever. And they've got the recruiting story with
Uno.
Well, with Hangman,
right,
where they want to get him in, but he's already a character before he comes in. Colt Cabana was already a character before he came in. Anna Jay was kind of a character before she came in a little bit. Uno,
sort of. I mean, she had the star of the show thing that she started doing, but her just being like legitimately a new wrestler.
Yeah.
It wasn't a character. It was a character without being a character.
But she has a story outside of the Dark Order, is
right.
What I'm going with there. And then, like I said, even go as far as look at somebody like Ten, who just, by virtue of being the big motherfucker, is like, okay, right. in this group, who's the heavy artillery? It's that guy. So the only ones that really just look like a couple of putties from Power Rangers are these two guys, which is really unfortunate, because what they can do in the ring is fantastic. But, like, the guy, one of them, their gimmick is, I'm the kooky guy that does funny shit and whatever, and like I say, by default, his partner is the one that's not as fun. I know it hits for some people, and I see where it hits for some people. Right now, it's not hitting for me, because they're not even the most entertaining two in their own faction. Like, I see them come out with the Dark Order music playing, and I think stuff like, I'd rather be, like, if we're going to see a tag team from Dark Order, I'd rather see Uno and Grayson, for example. Like, if I see you, and the first thing I think of is who I'd rather see, something's not hitting. Not to say that they're not trying, not to say that a lot of people aren't having a lot of fun with them. They are great in the ring. Fantastic. The singles match that he had with, can't remember his name. Can't remember who he fought in the really, really good match, too. Did he fight Hangman recently?
Yes. I want to think.
Anyways, he had one singles match
yes.
recently that was really good.
Yeah, it was Silver and Hangman.
So yeah, even that, like, even there, I'm just pulling out a singles match with the kooky guy.
I really want a match between Silver and Pac.
Because you'll kill him.
It would just be a really good physical match, honestly.
Gotta say, not part of the tag team conversation, but it is really good to see Pac back.
Yeah.
Not only because Pac's awesome, but also it just sort of indicates that, hey, the world is starting to loosen up a little bit. There has been a bit of travel. Over on WWE's side of things, we got Pete Dunne back. We got the grizzled young veterans back. Supposedly we're getting Walter soon. So not only great to see Pac, but also great to know like what seeing Pac possibly means for wrestling. Because I know there's a lot of people that, there's people that want to go from Canada to the States. There's people that want to go from the States to Japan, want to go from the States to the UK. So hopefully more of that for sure. I've heard rumors about Nick Aldis. I don't know from where. I don't know whether he's in the UK or whether he's in the US, but would love to see him come back and do something. Mm-hmm. Mr. Mickey James. But yeah, like I say, Dark Order, Silver, and Reynolds, good enough team. Hope they get something that grabs my attention eventually. Right now, right at this particular moment, not my cup of tea.
Well, all right. So moving on from the Dark Order to one of your favorite tag teams, Spaz.
What's that?
Weighing in at 24 ounces of cranberry vodka, Private Party.
I really like Private Party. I like their vibe. I like the fact that they're entertaining.
You have Private Party's grown on you, haven't they?
Private Party's grown on me, and
are they no longer the Street Profits light for you?
I mean, they're still Street Profits light, but Street Profits are Crime Time light. Crime Time.
Exactly.
Well, that's not. It's not any less true. It's a little less bad now.
Yeah.
How's that? But no, they are entertaining. The teaming of them with Matt Hardy, I think, is great.
Yeah, it's a great storyline that they're doing with that right now.
Because he's doing the Doc Hendricks role.
Yes.
Which I think is. He's even gone back to the the tight T-shirt gimmick from like back when the three of them were together. All we need now is Lita. But Lita's busy doing Twitch with Zelina Vega. It's fine.
Well,
Do we want to segue off into the Twitch conversation? No.
We're not doing that right now.
No, we're not doing that right now.
Except for watching Twitch tomorrow night to watch TNA, to watch Kenny Omega on TNA.
I thought you were gonna throw Kip Sabian and Miro in there. And let me say, I know they're not in here, but I'm going to say for the record, Kip Sabian and Miro can still fuck the fuck off. There we go. There's their entry on this list. They can fuck the fuck off. No, Private Party's a lot of fun, and I compare Private Party, and you're going to laugh at this, it's fine, I'm going to make an NXT comparison. Damian Priest.
Right.
On NXT, Jake and I,
Punishment Martinez.
Sure. Jake and I have been saying this forever. Our opinion of him has sort of gradually grown over time. I love Damian Priest's gimmick, and he's more gimmick than he is wrestler.
Right.
But that doesn't mean he's a bad wrestler.
No, he's a great wrestler.
I do translate that over onto Private Party a little bit. Because they are great wrestlers. They are entertaining wrestlers. They got endurance for days. Obviously, they're young, energetic. When they do have a crowd, they have a great interaction with that crowd. But I think they are more character than wrestler. I think they are more gimmick than wrestler. I think in the ring they are more fun than wrestler. And that's not a bad thing. No. That's not a bad thing at all, because that would make an awesome direct counter to a team like FTR.
Yes. Now, the only thing I can say about them Mark Quinn and
Isaiah Cassidy.
Yes, Isaiah Cassidy. The only thing I could say for them with that statement for you is they're young, so they definitely have the ability to grow in their characters and in their wrestling to where they can mix and meld the two much better. Because I mean, the wrestling itself, both of them are great inside the ring.
Oh yeah,
Now,
because they've both had individual great matches with Jericho.
yes,
And I mean,
both
like,
of them.
what kind of a reference for a young wrestler is a guy like Jericho?
Right.
But I mean, like, I don't want people to misunderstand me. When I say they're more gimmick than wrestler, that doesn't mean I think they're bad wrestlers. I just think that their gimmick and the fun aspects of their gimmick even supersedes what I think they can do in the ring, and I mean that in a positive way. Like I say, the Damian Priest comparison is the same way too. I love Damian Priest because basically it's Brandon Lee's Crow, which is no bad thing if you know my taste in movies. But I think he's great. I think he's being underrated as a wrestler. But I think his character supersedes it all. I think these guys are fantastic in the ring, and I think some people watching them may not get that because everything is a little bit overwhelmed by the sort of like the vibe they bring to the ring, the party atmosphere. That's why I make the Street Profits comparison. Like, the Street Profits in the ring are fantastic as well. But when they are in the ring, when they are having a match, it's a party for everybody that's watching it. And they're almost in danger of hiding how good they are behind how much fun they're having. So I hope for their sake that doesn't happen to them, because they are doing some cool shit. And I get the two names mixed up, but the one that has the long ring jacket with the tails and does all the flippy shit with those tails. I'm like, you could fuck that up. Like, there's a Bianca Belair there's a Bianca Belair hair situation just waiting to happen there, but it hasn't happened yet. And again, something like that gives the already awesome aerial stuff even more flair. So, nothing but good things to say about the Street Profits. Again, like, fucking shit.
Private Party.
Their party is private. The other party's happening in the street. Anyways, It's fine. Somebody's going to call me racist. It's fantastic.
No, it's fine. I mean, they're very similar gimmick-ish types.
Have you ever seen Leon Ruff and Leo Rush in the same place at the same time?
No, I have not.
I'm a terrible person and I'm going to hell, but that's fine.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, up next.
I will say one thing, Private Party. If you just want to go to, like, Styles Make Matches, I would love to see Private Party have a feud with the Butcher and the Blade. Just because I think they're that different.
Yeah.
Butcher trying to swat them out of the air while he's, like, firmly on the ground.
Oh, Lord. Anyway.
Silly string on Blade. Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'm done.
I would watch it. I think it'd be great. Anyway.
I think it would.
Let's move into a bigger faction, but I believe these two end up in the mid card of the faction. Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
I hate to put them here, but this is where I'm putting them.
Well, this is the thing, is, like, you kind of have to, in a way, because they haven't been anywhere near
I mean, the last big feud for them has been Best
Friends. And Best Friends came out on top. And it's funny because I think there was a swapping of places there. And spoiler alert, Best Friends are going to be on the ones we talk about in the next pod. I really do think that Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz switched places in that feud. Because from the beginning, like I said with TH2, I saw TH2 and the Best Friends, and there's another team that I can't think of now. As, like I say, that opening act, WWE used to put Hardys in the first match always because it was the one that would get the crowd going. Like, they were the functional curtain jerkers, like, in a positive way. So it sort of defined them as sort of being like the lower card tag team, but at the same time, they're gonna go out there, they're gonna do, like I say again, a little bit of cocaine wrestling and get everybody going. But I thought it put the Best Friends in that certain spot right?
Yes.
Especially, like I say, as a team that I wasn't as familiar with at the time. Here's two guys that I don't know, so if they're starting at the bottom and I'm seeing them at the bottom, I can watch them grow, and by the time they get to a prominent spot, I will have gone, as a fan, you go on journeys with the wrestlers that you like. I thought, okay, they're going to go up that journey, and I'm going to watch them go, and it's going to be great. It's going to be, literally, in my case, a Jeff Hardy situation.
Right.
But they had the thing with Santana and Ortiz, and Santana and Ortiz had the immediate star power because they were the chosen tag team of Chris Jericho. And I'm sorry, like, the minute Jericho walks out with 5 other people surrounding him, those 5 other people are elevated.
Correct. And that's the whole reason why I even put Santana and Ortiz right here. It's just because I agree with you with the switch in power of where they fall in this rankings, in this main event, mid-card, however you want to really put it, whenever, sorry, it's tired in here, whenever the Best Friends, there it is, I swear I could speak, but whenever the Best Friends did beat them in that was it,
the Backlot Brawl?
Yes, the Backlot Brawl. And, we got, who is it, Trent's mom flipping them off on the way out. It was a perfect ending to the story, as well as a good switch in power of where the Best Friends and Santana Ortiz should be at in the card, as well as just the fact that Santana Ortiz really didn't need to be higher on the card, because when you're getting the rub from Le Champion, then it's all good.
And see, that's the sticky thing, right? Because I think they put him with Jericho, or they put them with Jericho, I should say, and thought, okay, well, we don't have to really worry about them because they're part of this bigger, huge Jericho story, right? But if you do that, you've sort of decided that they're slightly in a different part of the card now. They're not in the tag team division anymore. They're part of a Jericho story.
Right.
And because of that, they've always been prominent, and we see them every week, but when was the last time, unless they've done something on Dark, when was the last time we saw Santana and Ortiz in a straight-up tag team match with anybody?
Probably against Best Friends.
Yeah. And I think, but Best Friends, because they're not part of a faction story, I mean, like, they've got Orange Cassidy with them, which is fine, but they're not part of a thing that takes them out of the tag team division. No. I think... As much as it's bad for Santana and Ortiz, you sort of solidified them as Jericho's backup, whereas Best Friends became this team that was stepping over those guys into the tag team division. And you sort of get that sideways rub from Jericho. It's like, okay, we beat these guys that Jericho chose. And Jericho, while he's had a lot of singles success, is a former multi-time tag team champion.
Correct.
So he does know his shit. So for Santana and Ortiz to be just like lumped in with Jericho as his backup, while Best Friends beat Jericho's chosen guys to get themselves into that spot, it's a nice, neat little story. But I do hope Santana and Ortiz get back in there at some point. And the way that the inner circle,
I think once the inner circle finally does disband, which I mean could be this week. I mean, honestly, storyline-wise, it could possibly be this week.
Storyline-wise, the Inner Circle isn't what it was a couple months or even weeks ago.
Correct. But, if you go by storyline, if they do break up, Santana or Ortiz are in a good spot, and they have a good rub to where, you know what, if they really want to, beginning of next year, they can go on a big tear, and this time next year, they could be champions.
Oh, they could. I mean, they could put the machine behind them, and they could be believable tag team champions in a month.
Yeah.
But I think, and I mean, every wrestling company is guilty of this. I'm not just picking on AEW, but it's like, okay, you've got an established guy like Jericho, and you put some younger talent with him, like Santana and Ortiz, like Sammy Guevara, like, Jack Swagger that needed some rehabilitation, let's just say. But you think, okay, well, we've put them with Jericho, so Jericho will work on getting them over. We'll go focus on some other teams. But, like, being part of a team of 5 doesn't get you any closer to the tag team championships. So I think I think they might have got themselves into a little bit too comfy a corner booking-wise. But I think, like you say, with the dissolution of Inner Circle, probably by the end of January, I would say at the latest. I think
I can see them breaking them up. I don't want to say right this second, but fairly soon.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be a case of, like, MJF's on one side and Jericho's on the other side, and they split the Inner Circle down the middle, so just to symbolize that, we're going to split up the tag team, and Santana is going to be in Jericho's corner, and Ortiz is going to be in MJF's corner, because you can't symbolize a split unless you split the tag. Like, it's very, very similar to the Undisputed Era conversations I'm having in NXT.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next tag team. Probably one of my favorites. Actually, you know what? We're going to save that one. So, SCU.
I love how you just drove a complete circle around Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Hey, we're going to get there. But SCU. Daniels and Kazarian.
Or as I know them, the Dirty Heels from TNA.
Dirty Heels. I mean, they've solidified themselves. They are the first. Technically, the SCU is the first AEW tag team champions, even though it was Scorpio Sky and Kazarian, but still counts, sort of.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When you sent me your list of who you wanted to talk to or talk about tonight, I'm glad you specified that we're talking about Daniels and Kaz, only because there is such a nostalgia thing with them for me.
Yes.
Because, you know, as much as we shit on TNA and as much as we shit on Impact or whatever, like, people were watching at the high point of TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call it, and there was a good reason. Like, look at all the people that have had, like, various success everywhere else now. Like, in the era where you had Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, James Storm, you know, Kazarian, Daniels, all these people, like, the X Division was it. Like,
absolutely.
We talk about, you know, Wednesday Night Wars. We talk about, you know, the tag team division on AEW. We talk about the women's division in NXT. You could have very well said the X Division in TNA. I mean, Daniels, the famous triple threats between, like, Daniels, Styles, and Joe.
Yeah.
Were the main event. Even though it was for the X Division title, those matches were the main event. And Kazarian came on later on, and I did mention this. in the video, or in the episode that you weren't here for, because we were talking about Winter Has Fallen, and specifically the Jericho-Kaz match.
Yeah.
Kaz, more than anybody, even though there were people that outshone him on occasion, and there were people that got main event spots before him, Kaz always struck me as the one guy that I was surprised WWE never picked up. Because, like, they always say what they say about Randy Orton, like, oh, if you're gonna build a wrestler from the ground up, you know, there's the guy, and like, Kaz was that. Like, at his high point in Impact. Like, you see them pick up guys like Joe, you see them pick up guys like Styles, you see them pick up guys like Eric Young, and who else? There's somebody I'm leaving out, obviously. Austin Aries was another great example, but you see them pick all those guys out, and while they all fit, other than Austin Aries, like Samoa Joe's doing commentary right now, AJ Styles became WWE champion, all this sort of thing.
I mean, Aries became Cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, and then he was gone.
Yeah, well.
And then he showed up. I'll tell you something. Austin Aries showed up for a Destiny title match against Pete Dunne, which then became a triple threat when James Ellsworth cashed in his briefcase. It was good times. No, but I don't know. Like, there's something about Kazarian now. Like, because Daniels, I love seeing Daniels. Still, don't get me wrong. But when you see Daniels, like, from his heyday, like, from his X Division, like, walking the tightrope in the Ultimate X match heyday to now, like, time does what it does. You watch Jericho wrestle, time does what it does. Not to say that they're still not performing, like, at their peak of their abilities today, but Kazarian hasn't aged in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, at all. It's scary. Like
It's funny,
like it seems
not
like
to
he
touch
should be. It seems like he should be teaming with Scorpio instead of with Daniels. And it sounds like I'm shitting on Daniels, guys. I'm really not. Kazarian could easily be in the TNT or AEW title picture.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's not to say I want SCU to break up. Like, it's really not. These guys, I think these guys, like, for what they can contribute, like, behind the scenes and in front of the camera, I think these guys are drastically underused, if anything. Like,
I could definitely agree with that.
like, you could have
Funny
two strong
enough-
storylines going on. Like, if you got a young team, if you got somebody already chasing the tag team championships, start a second story with another young team you want to put over, put them with SCU, and let them run through all the different, especially because there's 3 people in SCU, let them run through the different iterations of SCU, like Daniels, Kaz, Daniels, Scorpio, Scorpio, Kaz, all that sort of thing. You could have, they could be the AEW tag team mid-card story machine, if you let them.
Yes.
I don't know. I think they've got like so much to contribute. I know at least Daniels has some jobs backstage as well. I think he's doing some of the coaching and some of the promotions, if I'm not mistaken. You probably know better than me.
I'm sorry, what was that? I'll blank for a second.
Just talking about like a lot of these guys are pulling double duty, and I know I've heard that Daniels has some strong positions backstage as well as when he's performing in the ring.
Daniels is head of talent relations.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought he was
Daniels.
I thought he was in promotion for some reason.
No, talent relations. So he's the guy that everybody contacts for booking and getting in, basically.
Oh,
And
very
he's the one
cool.
that makes the call. He's the one that makes the calls to make the offers.
Oh, there you go. So maybe that's why he's not wrestling so much.
Exactly.
But Daniels is so good on the mic, though. Like even if he couldn't wrestle anymore, which would be unfortunate. Like imagine him as a manager. And I will say,
Yeah.
I
think eventually he's going to move into that type of role.
Hold on to your bootstraps for a second, because I'm going to give AEW some credit, guys. AEW does manage the manager role better than WWE.
Absolutely.
Now, I will say, none of it being bad, but I think there's too much of it. Like, to the point, if everybody has a manager, then having a manager stops becoming a unique thing. Like, Taz is a manager, Tully is a manager, Arn is a manager. Apparently, Sting is going to be a manager, I've heard. I don't want to speculate too much.
Yeah, that's been
a
rumor going around.
Now Don Callis is managing Kenny Omega, apparently. So I think they need to not overdo it, but what they are doing is good. But I think Christopher Daniels as either a manager or, you know what, even a voice on commentary. Like there is the rumor of them having a second televised show maybe sometime next year.
Yep.
Christopher Daniels on commentary. Like, it's not a conflict. Like, Taz is a manager of a faction, and he still does commentary on Dark, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Jericho is an active competitor who does commentary sometimes.
Yes, and that's what I was about to say. Whenever Jericho does finally decide to hang up the boots and not wrestle anymore, I can honestly see him being a commentator for AEW most likely.
Oh, I think when Jericho retires from the ring, your commentary team is going to be JR and Jericho.
Yeah.
Like,
as well as just a point of, I can see him moving into a Jerry King,
yeah,
Lawler role to where he will wrestle every so often.
but it'll be like a Legends deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, if you think about it, right? Because their commentary right now isn't terrible. I have problems with it on occasion because it still feels like they talk over each other. But if you imagine, like Excalibur, I don't know quite what to do with Excalibur. I like him, but I don't know where he fits. But if you get to the point where they're saying they're going to have 2 different shows, if one team was, say, you know, Jim Ross and Chris Jericho, and the other team was Tony Schiavone and Christopher Daniels,
right?
That's a hell of a commentary team, or a commentary group of teams. And Excalibur could maybe rotate in and out. Taz could focus more on the group that he's managing. Like, you've got a nice floating team there. But let me just say, like, I'm not saying that because I'm pushing the idea of Daniels not wrestling anymore. But the guy has other things to contribute if and when the day comes when he's not wrestling anymore. Like, we just saw the retirement of The Undertaker, like, from in-ring competition, supposedly. But I hope he's got some kind of backstage role. I've said it before. You put him in the PC somewhere where everybody used to talk about Dusty Rhodes, you know, rest in peace and all that. Dusty Rhodes' commentary class. You're going to tell me Mark Calloway couldn't teach a class on how to build a character?
Oh, God.
Like,
He's going to be so amazing as a teacher.
Yeah.
Only thing is,
does he want to?
Not just the fact of does he want to. How much is it going to cost him?
Well, I mean, he's signed a contract with WWE that started at like 15 years a year ago.
Right.
So it's not like he's not going to get paid. But I'm just thinking, like, you got the characters in there right now, like Karrion Kross, like Demon Finn Balor, like The Fiend, like you know, anybody else I could mention along that line. Think about the type of things, because those are not like regular everyday Joes. They're not John Cena's or Randy Orton's or Daniel Bryan's. Those are characters that need to be created. Think about what the guy that brought The Undertaker to life could contribute to that. Now, conversely, Christopher Daniels, Chris Jericho, guys like this that didn't just stay in the WWE system, that did go, you know, Impact, ROH, a little bit of WWE, probably a lot more experience over in Japan, probably did some stuff in the UK at some point. I know Jericho was down in Mexico and all that. Now, take that mold that I just laid out for The Undertaker, being the guy that basically made his career in one company, give these guys roles like that, and how much do they have to contribute backstage after their time in the ring is done?
Right.
Now, on top of that, now add commentary as well, because they're both great talkers, and it is what it is. But yeah, even if Daniels has to hang it up eventually, which was not really the conversation I wanted to have here, Kazarian and Sky, either as a team or individually, SCU can still be SCU off doing singles shit. But
right.
yeah, but no, these two specifically is just huge nostalgia for the TNA X Division, and the one of the good reasons to watch TNA. Anyway, so who do we have left? Gee, I wonder.
Who could it be? Could it be Jurassic Express?
I don't know. On the notes that I was given, it says Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yeah, no, my speak to text did not like Luchasaurus. We'll roll with it.
I love these guys too.
Jungle Express. I mean, I've loved them since the debut of Dynamite when they came out. They've tagged together in PWG a couple times, as well as a couple other little indie shows. The tag team has grown, and it's only been going up. Yes, I have them here in the mid-card slot, only because they can only move up.
Well, the thing is, they're like Hybrid 2 in a way, where they were like one of the big central focuses when Dynamite first hit the air, and their impact more recently has been really pulled back. Now, like, I don't know whether that's, you know, because they've gone off and had to, you know, do stuff, or whether they were just cycling new talent in, but they just haven't been on there as much. And I'm sorry, some of that is because, you know, the influx of bigger names that AEW got, but I want to see more of these guys. I want to talk about them individually for a second, because Luchasaurus is one of those things in wrestling where you sort of see what it is, and you're like, okay. And in your brain, you kind of make a decision to, like, either go with it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Statlander being the Alien is my other example for AEW. The Fiend is what it is. The Boogeyman back in the day. Abaddon. Abaddon's great, by the way. Very much like creature feature type stuff. I mean, it's goofy as hell. You guys know I love goofy stuff, so it's always going to win for me. The guy moves like a cruiserweight. It's kind of scary. The tail whip thing.
Yeah.
The tail whip kick thing that he does is terrifying. The dialogue, like him being like the intellectual dinosaur, is wonderful. He's fighting for dino rights, which reflects the SJW culture of 2020 that I'm not even going to touch tonight. Luchasaurus as a package is great for all the wackiness that wrestling is. Now,
it works.
On the other side of the coin is a more general conversation that I want to have about AEW in general, because I take the piss out of AEW quite a bit, because so much of their because so much of their focus is on the legends that they've been able to bring in, which are doing their part, the ex-WWE guys, which are bringing in the star power, and the owners of the company, who are still 4 active wrestlers that I'm sure want to have their own successful careers.
Yes.
But all of those aside, you want to talk about this company lasting long term. You want to talk about who's the future of AEW, if that's a big, bold conversation we want to have. There's 3 names that I'm going to throw out there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say MJF, and I'm not discounting MJF, but MJF's not on my list. The 3 names that I'm looking at when I look at this roster that they have, and unfortunately their women's division needs some work, so none of the people on my list are women. But you're looking at Darby Allin.
Yep.
You're looking at Sammy Guevara.
Yep.
And you're looking at Jungle Boy.
Yes.
Give me 5 years, those 3 in a triple threat match for the AEW Championship is a possibility.
Shoot, I see that being the next 3.
I would say 5 only because I don't want to do it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want it to be... Like, I want Jurassic Express to run its course. I want Darby Allin to be like that Sting, Undertaker, Jeff Hardy-esque character that sort of is his own story, and if a title comes into it, that's fine. If a title doesn't come into it, that's fine, but he is his own element. And I want Sammy Guevara to be like a little shit disturber in the mid-card for a long-ass time.
I could definitely see... I could see Sammy getting the TNT title.
For sure.
Within the next year or so.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. In, 2 years or less, I could see these same 3 guys having a triple threat for that title. But think about it like, when we talk about a feud like... Oh, what's something I can compare it to? Because I've done it before. Triple H and The Rock is a feud that started when they were, really, really small guys at the bottom of the roster. Then they were both on the opposite sides of warring factions. And then they fought for the IC title. And then they fought on pay-per-view in ladder matches for the IC title. And then they started other groups. And then they came back together again for the main title. These are 3 guys that if you decided to build the company around them, you could do a small feud. And then you could have them involved in some sort of tag team melee. And then you could see them involved in a bigger thing. And then they could come back to each other when the world title was in flux. Then they could come back to each other when a pay-per-view slot was... these are 3 guys that I think you could keep coming back to. And it could be a long-standing story where you didn't need to build a story each time. It's these guys have just floated back into each other's orbit again.
Yes.
Not the best example, but Randy Orton, John Cena.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, too.
When those 2 guys crossed paths, whenever they decided to do a story with them, you didn't really need to do anything. Right. one of them would come down and stare the other one down, and you have somebody on commentary and be like, well, these guys are no strangers to each other, and the fans know what that means. And you just go right back into it. And then... like I say, you throw a mid-card title into it, and then they all destroy each other over the mid-card title, and then some other rando, like MJF, takes that title away and fucks off and sticks it up his ass, and he's not a factor anymore. And then they feud with each other over the fact that none of them have that title. And then through that feud, they escalate themselves, and they become the main event of Dynamite, and they become, the main event of a minor pay-per-view or a major elevated Wednesday night show. And eventually, that triple threat match is either for the title or at least for a number one contenders match.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, on the other side of the coin, you could do the same thing with Luchasaurus when you pair him up with guys like Brian Cage and Wardlow and Archer and all that sort of, and the big boys slapping meat.
Especially because they're all big guys that can move at ridiculously high pace.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I know right now Miro is not getting the best type of push or whatever you wanted to say, but you throw Miro. Honestly, I would love to see a match between Miro and Luchasaurus.
Miro and Kip Sabian versus Jungle Express or whatever.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, and here's the second time, and here's the biggest compliment I can give this tag team, and again, it's me putting AEW over WWE. I think this tag team successfully does what WWE really tried to do with Team Hell No.
Yes.
You've got totally opposite characters, but also two wrestlers serving two completely different purposes. You got one guy that's, sort of the undersized, incredibly technical, incredible in-ring wrestler, and one that is a definite, created, surreal character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kane is Luchasaurus, Daniel Bryan is Jungle Boy. And I mean both of those in complimentary terms. I mean, obviously,
correct.
Luchasaurus can do things that Kane definitely couldn't do.
Luchasaurus is a lot more athletic than Kane ever could be.
Yeah. But I don't want to wipe it off as
that's not a dig against Kane. It's a completely different move set, a completely different mindset of who they are, but it's the same general thought of you have this really big guy with a much smaller guy.
And see, that's where I want to draw the line of difference, though, because there's a lot of oddball tag teams that were just a big guy and a little guy, like
Jericho.
Jericho. You had Crime Time. Unfortunately, Shad Gaspard passing away not too long ago. Yeah. The original LAX in TNA, Homicide and Hernandez. Now that's just it's just a big guy and a little guy. But I think when you get something like Team Hell No, or when you get something like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, you do have an athlete and a thing and a creature, something that very, very loosely falls into that not quite the I don't know what you call it. That mythical gothic creature type realm.
Not to point this one out, but Rosie and the Hurricane. I mean,
no.
Small technical guy, bigger monster.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll give you that. No, but imagine Bret Hart and the Undertaker. One is definitely a character. One is definitely an entity, and the other is a very human, very real, very down to earth person that is an excellent athlete. Those are two very different things to try and play off as one team, and I think that's what I never bought the Team Hell No thing. I mean, everybody in the YouTube universe knows Deluxe Man hates me because I called out Team Hell No for being shit. But this is the good, successful version of Team Hell No.
It's just because you needed to go to see Dr. Shelby.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, they could send Luchasaurus to Dr. Shelby. He's got 65 million years of pent-up frustration that he needs to talk about.
I mean, he already has his master's degree, so I don't know.
Next thing you know, you see Luchasaurus refusing to wrestle, and he's just marching around the ring with a big sign that says "Green Lives Matter."
God, no.
Oh, wait, he's not a heel, so we're not going to do that.
No. Luchasaurus is not a heel. I don't think he could ever be a heel. He is the biggest baby face I think you can honestly say can be a baby face. Jungle Boy has the potential to become a heel because they can easily, if he has it in him. I mean, I've never seen him work heel before. If they ever did break up Jungle Express and turn Jungle Boy heel, that's easiest way to get rid of the Jungle Boy moniker, and now he is Jack Perry.
Or no. I'm not a boy anymore. I'm Jungle Man.
No, no.
Jungle Man. No, but here's the thing. If you ever want to turn Luchasaurus heel, really, all you need to do is change his name.
No, he used to be Luchasaurus.
No, he'd have to be Theodore Rex.
No.
Come on.
No.
T-Rex.
No.
It's good.
No.
Guapo.
Luchasaurus, all you do is change his mask, instead of green, it turns red.
T-Rex.
God, I hate you. Alright, so...
No, you don't. You miss me.
Yeah.
You were thinking about me your whole anniversary. No, you weren't. That's weird.
What? No. God, no.
It's tired.
You sick fuck.
Don't make me preview another AEW show without you.
I'm sorry. Sting. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Sting.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at.
That's good. They're just following AEW's hot lead because apparently that's all WWE does. Ric Flair is the new NXT champion. Anyways, you had
one Flair win the women's championship in recent years. We don't need another one.
Oh dear God. Yeah, she's coming back soon too.
Yeah.
And Becky and Seth Rollins had their kids, so that's cool.
Yep. Congrats, Becky and Seth.
Yeah. And the kid's name is Ro.
Ro.
Kid's name is
No,
Ro.
it's not Ro. It's is it Ro or Rue?
R-O-U-X. Your guess is as good as mine.
R-O-U-X. Okay, so for you, it might be Ro. For me, down here in Cajun, Louisiana, that's a Rue.
Fair enough. Hey, but you know what? 2020 kind of sucks, so we need to take the happy shit when we can get it.
Absolutely.
Anyways, you were already kind of doing it, and I cut you off, so tell them where to find you.
You can find me at Twitter at guapo_504. You can also find me and my buddy Ruffin on Facebook. We are the Wednesday Night Wrestling podcast show on Facebook. Look us up. Spaz will link us at some point probably. Give us a like, subscribe. We try to do a show every week. We've been slacking the past couple weeks because we've both been having some off time with him and his significant other and me and my wife. So, yes, but we hopefully will be coming back soon.
You guys going to talk about War Games on Thursday? Maybe?
Maybe. We'll see. To be honest, it really will depend on what happens tomorrow night and Wednesday night.
Well, you better get that done and watched and recorded real soon, though, because after that, you got to prepare for NXT New Year's Evil.
No thanks.
Anyways, and you guys know where to find me?
Wait, we gotta prepare. We have to prepare for, what is it? TLC, right?
Nobody's preparing for TLC. Except maybe Lana.
No one cares. All right.
Lana going through a table. Take 12.
No.
And you guys know where to find me or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. He's been Guapo. We are your AEW reality check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to you soon. That's going to be later. But for right now, me and Senor Guapo are tagging out.